Start the recording first. Yeah. Okay. Good morning to everybody in this third presentation, second day. Yeah? And today you are going to make presentations on American literature. And in this session, we have presentations in this sequence: Stuti, Sneha, Riddhi, Niyati, Nidhi, Nandita, Latta, and Kishan. These are the students who are going to make presentations in this slot. Uh, and the topics which you are going to make presentations are very interesting from American literature. Yes? Eugene O'Neill's play Long Day's Journey into Night, Bob Dylan and Michael Jackson, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Transcendentalism and Puritanism, Robert Frost's poems. Yeah? So on these topics, you are going to make your presentations. Okay? So let me invite first Stuti to start with the presentation. Yes, Stuti, you can start.
Screen is visible.
Yes, you have started sharing the screen. Yes, Stuti, you can start.
Okay, sir. First of all, good morning, everyone. Today's my topic is a theme of Robert Frost poetry. Key poet is introductions, Robert Frost, work of Robert Frost, main theme of Frost poetry, and conclusions. First is introductions of Robert Frost. Robert Frost's full name is Robert Lee Frost. He was born in March 26, 1974, January, and he was dead in January 29, 1963, was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States. First poem deal with men in relation with the universe, men environment as seen by Frost in quick indifferent to men, neither hostage or benevolent. Man is alone and frail as compared to the vastness of the university. Frost was honored Frost was honored during his lifetime, and his only poet was received for Pulitzer Prize for poetry. He became one of the American rare public literary figure almost an artist instructions and such a view of view of men on earth uh, confronting the total universe in the inevitables like with certain theme of Frost poetry. He liked to use language as it is actually spoken, and he is a poet of thought. Behind his descripts you can find spiritual meaning, and wrote the poem is such a way that it could either be about his relationship with his neighbor of the about the relationship with anyone anywhere. Next, Robert Frost's work. Famous work is first is a Fire and Ice. Second, the road not taken. Third is Nothing God Can Stay. Meeting well and stopping by woods on a snow evening. Next. Some important themes of the Robert Frost poetry. Burial is the predominant predominant themes and themes of human limitations. Third is the theme of extinction of death. Fourth is the theme of love and theme of the affirmations, men's isolations. Men isolations. Men isolations, one of the most striking theme of the first poetry is men isolation from the universe. From right in first right in desert place the loneliness, including me. Universe man is the essential alone as in a born out in the first poetry. One of the most striking themes of Robert Frost in Men Isolations is the universe of man, sense of the alienations from his um, environment. Frost in his poem Isolations, the individual's poem, and speaking running speaker running of the living the life alone. Next, Frost is Frost is not too so much concerned with the depictions, the cultures, ethos of New England people as with presenting things caught up in a struggle with the elementary problem of existence. The New England of Frost reflect his consciousness of and agrarian society, isolations within and urban is the world. Maine is a lawn in the countryside or in the city, in acquainted with the night. Next, uh, in in home in home burials, the lady suffered from a terrible sense of self element of well as uh, alienation alienations from her the surroundings, and more than the physical loneliness, men suffered from the loneliness within. And yeah, I have eaten me so much nearly home to scare myself with my own desert place. My word are nearly always and often I don't know how to speak of anything. Next, uh, burial is the predominant. A concept with burial is the predominant theme is Frost poetry. Frost poetry. Main is always erecting erect, erecting and trying to bring down barriers between men and environment, between men and men to frost these burial seems favorable to mutual understanding and respect. For instance, on recognition says burial instead of trying to tear them down in the modern trend, and he even builds them wherever necessary. Burial is the predominant. The Frost insist on recognize these burials instance of trying to tear them down as in the modern trend, and he even builds the wherever necessary. Next, love theme. Love. Uh, theme of love is the central of the first poems. If there is any force that can help man meet the challenge of the universe, it is love. In uh, several of Proust poem, the significance of love between man and woman, of friendly love is brought out. It is when love break down or fades off that love is a breakdown. It is when love breakdown or fades off that life become unbearable, especially for the woman in Frost poetry. Love and Question by Robert Frost is a curious poem in the which couples encounters as strange. It bring up to questions of what right and wrong, what's too selfish and what simple common sense. Next, theme of affirmations is also found in some of his poem. Frost ultimately present the need for men to make the most of his situations. All aware of men limitations, he had desire men to explore and seek knowledge and truth. Men should learn to accept thing and his limitations cheerfully. He suggests story can call will and effort in the face of adversity and as it west running book. Theme of the theme of the affirmation is also found in some of his poem. Frost ultimately present the need to men to make most of these situations, aware of men limitations. He yet he had desire men of explore and weak knowledge and truth men should learn to accept. Next, theme of extinctions of death. Theme of extinction of the death also run through the major theme of Frost. In many a poem, he died on sleep, which associated with death, and Fire and Ice is a noteworthy poem on distractions caused by excess of desire or hatred. Stopping of wood on snow evening after after applied picking and old man and winter night. All these poems have a referred to death. Next. Uh, in most in most of Frost poem, the speaker undergoes a process of the discovery. Self discovery. The wood chopper of two trapped in mood. Time realized by the end of the poem that he chopped wood. That he chopped wood for love of work only, but love and need should not be separated. Next, last is conclusion. The major theme as discussed love are expressed thought various device. The symbolical significations invested in the certain recurring object like the star, the stars, the the woods survey to being home to the reader all the more vividly the positions of men in the universe. Thank you.
Okay, questions to Stuti shall be asked in the comment, and you have to reply in the comment. The next presenter is Sneha.
Yes, sir. I will share my screen from the app device. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Today I would like to present about difference between Transcendentalism and Puritanism. So first of all, what is Transcendentalism? Transcendentalism was a 19th century philosophical movement. Transcendentalists believe that true reality transcends or exists beyond the physical world. A literary movement that established a clear American voice. Emerson first expressed his philosophy in his essay Nature, a belief in a higher reality that then achieved by human reasoning. Second is, what is Puritanism? Puritanism was an early American religious philosophy. The Puritans, this term is the Puritans believed that religion is a personal inner experience that should not be filtered through the clergy or government. People should be self-reliant. God's presence reveals itself primarily through the Bible, but also through signs in the physical world. Transcendentalism versus Puritanism. So we see the difference between Transcendentalism and Puritanism. Transcendentalists believe that God is present in every aspect of nature, including every human being. Where the Puritans believe that in a Puritan thought, hard work and worldly success are signs of God's grace. Transcendental thought holds that nature is divine and symbolic of the spirit. So the human soul is inherently good and evil is virtually non-existent. In a Puritan thought, in Puritan thought, grace from God makes people reborn as a member of the community of saints. Transcendentalism is based upon idealism and self-reliance, whereas the Puritanism is based upon practicality and industriousness. Transcendentalism affected have not been as a whisper, and whereas the Puritanism has greatly affected American culture. Transcendentalism came to value self-reliance, industriousness, temperance, and simplicity. Puritanism came to value self-reliance, industriousness, and temperance and simplicity. Transcendentalism is the transcending or going beyond empiricism and asserting a priori the fundamental principle of human knowledge, whereas the Puritanism is a strict, austere religious conduct. Transcendentalists loved nature. Nature is a teacher. Nature brings wisdom and teaches you about yourself. Whereas the Puritanism feared nature's sphere of nature. Transcendentalists believe that nature is equal to man in some ways superior. Man has to be completed to nature in order to truly know himself. Whereas the Puritanism, man is higher than nature and can use nature for his own purpose. In a transcendentalist, they believe that God is in a nature. Man connects to him through nature. God can exist with man. Whereas the Puritanism, God is all powerful. He is our creator and judge. We are separate from God. So conclusion, both Puritanism and Transcendentalism have evolved from religious doctrine and pervade the American culture, politics, and identity become more secular than vision. However, Puritanism poses a darker perspective from that of Transcendentalism. Here is my references. Thank you. Sir, unmute your mic.
Yeah, okay. Stuti and Sneha, Kishan, you can ask your question to Sneha.
Yes, Neha. My question is, can you give one example of transcendentalism?
Yes, I gave one example that man is his best when he is yeah, independent and not a part of any religion, any religion, any religion organized on politics. I added one quote that by Ralph Waldo Emerson that man is damned is so for a slave.
Hello, Sneha. My question is, which thing you find common from both sides regarding nature and God?
The Puritans see God is an inexplicably included in a act of deep space, where the Transcendentalists believe God is connected to humanity through the God and nature.
Okay, next presenter is Riddhi.
Yes, sir. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so good morning, respected sir, and all my dear friends. Today we are dealing with our
Yes,
paper number
just
one.
yeah, your presentation we are not able to see in full screen.
Now,
Not yet. We are seeing the slides on one side. It is not fully playing. Yeah, full.
now
Have
is
you?
it
Yeah, have you shared the entire screen or a window?
window?
Then you have to find that window where the presentation is going. It will go in another window. That window you will have to share.
Now is it visible?
No,
screen?
no, no. You have to play your presentation, continue playing, and then you have to share a window. Otherwise, the better option is entire screen. That is easier one with PPT.
Okay.
If you have any video, then you won't be able to perhaps do that. Yeah. Audio will not come in that. Yeah. Yes, now it is.
Okay. Um, so good morning, sir, and my all dear friends. Today we are dealing with our paper number 108, the American literature, and my topic name is Hemingway, the Conquest of Pen. These are key objectives of this presentation. The first one is who is Hemingway, then what was in Hemingway's writing that enabled him to command the loyalty of a generation. In this point, we are dealing with 2 points, that always a young writer and always a writer for the young, Then his great subject, panic. Third point is why is Hemingway important and existential elements in For Whom the Bell Tolls of Ernest Hemingway. So who is Hemingway? Hemingway's full name is Ernest Miller Hemingway. He was born in July 21, 1899 and died July 2, 1961, age 61. He was got awarded Nobel Prize in Literature in 1954. He was famous for objective and terse prose style. What is a terse prose style? So terse means a brief or using very few words. This quote is from Hemingway that always do sober what you said, do drunk, that will teach you to keep your mouth shut. Now, our second point, always a young writer and always a writer for the young. So Hemingway had written Something Happens to Our Good Writers at a Certain Age. Devote the first half of their lives to imitating human experience and the second to parodying their imitation. He was always a young writer and always a writer for the young. So his why? Because his novel The Sun Also Rises in his mid-20s and completed most of his great stories by the age of 40. He was started a campaign of terror against the fixed vocabulary of literature, a purge of style and form. And in the name uh, of neutrals, he modeled a new artifice for tension, a short-breathed writer, and whether in the novel or story. He was stuck past the barriers of culture and seems to disregard the racial of civilized relationships. His great subject, panic. In his very first stories, Hemingway struck straight to the heart of our nihilism, writing with that marvelous courage. Hemingway struck straight to the heart of our nihilism through stories about people who have come to the end of the line, who no longer know what to do or where to turn. He was touched upon something deeper, something that broke forth in his fiction as the most personal and lonely kind of experience, but was formed by the pressure of 20th century history. Excellence, he stood ready to face through the clinched shape of his stories. He kept insisting that no one can escape. Moment of truth come to all of us. John Berryman. John Berryman is an American poet and scholar. He was once said that we live in a culture where man can go through his entire life without having once to discover whether he is a coward. So Hemingway forced his reader to consider such possibilities, and through the clinched step of his stories, he kept insisting that no one can escape. Moment of truth come to all of us. Fatalistic as they often seem, immersed in image of violence and death, his stories are actually insistment to personal resistance and renewal. Reading them, one felt stirred to a stronger sense, if not of one possible freedom, then at least of one possible endurance and comprehensive in stoicism. So, last point is this existential element in For Whom the Bell Tolls of Ernest Hemingway. So it is this attempt at participation which Hemingway discussed in For Whom the Bell Tolls. Robert Jordan, an American professor, joins the communist forces as a dynamiter during the Spanish Civil War. At the beginning of his service, Jordan found a great fulfillment in his participation and seemed on his way to commitment to uh, coziness. This line is from the For Whom the Bell Tolls, and these are stop making dubious literature about the Barbara and the old Iberians, and admit that you have liked to kill as all who are soldiers by choice have enjoyed it at a low time whether they lie about it or not. You have been tamed with it a long time. It is because of this taint of spilled from too much that Jordan must reject communist ideology, although he desired to participate in the world, cannot do to the extent called for by the collective because he cannot place the reality of the collective before that of the individual. So what Hemingway is saying in For Whom the Bell Toll, and which is consistent with existentialism, uh, is that the life of the individual with its plenitude of concept, experience, transcend rationally devised political and social system. The participation that Jordan seeks is needed one of brotherhood with his fellow men, but it is not brotherhood of collunism. Perhaps the key to kind of participation that Jordan seeks is in the sermon by the John Donne, which the title of the book is taken. The key part of the sermon is in the last few lines. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind and therefore never sent to for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for three. With this discovery of the self and the realization that what one shares with other is the existential condition, Hemingway has found the basic for participation in the movement. From the courage to be as a oneself to the courage to be as a part, Hemingway has elevated the existential view, which before only an individual process, to a universal position, and courage is the force which enables the individual to move from participation. These are references, and thank you.
Okay, good. Well presented. Your first slide was very good, where you put the objective. So that is a good idea, which other students can also adopt. That you put what are your key objectives, which you are going to discuss in the said presentations. So good points were raised in the beginning, and then they were answered in the subsequent presentation. Okay, questions to her, Sneha.
Yes, sir. Riddhi, my question is that what makes Hemingway great?
Uh, yes, Neha. Ernest Hemingway was one of the greatest American writer of the 20th century, and I think his most popular work, The Old Man and the Sea, uh, and he got the Nobel Prize for Literature for his powerful style, forming mastery of the art of narration. So I think that way, Ernest Hemingway was the most popular and famous.
Hello, Riddhi. My question is, who said every man's death diminishes me?
Yes, any man that diminishes me. This line from John Donne, Giver John Donne.
Okay, next presenter is now after Riddhi, Niyati. Yes.
Yes, sir. Riddhi will share my screen. So my topic is on long days journey internet as a tragedy. So here is the definition of tragedy. An event causing great suffering, destruction and distress such as a serious accident, crime or natural catastrophe. A play dealing with tragic events and having an unhappy ending, especially one concerning the downfall of the main character, the protagonist. This picture shows us sadness, unhappiness, loneliness, tears, etc. A tragedy is an event of great loss, usually of human life. Such an event would require some element of moral failure, some flaw in character, or some extraordinary combination of elements to be recognized. Not every death is considered as tragedy. The end of the tragedy called catharsis. We all know one dramatist, Shakespeare, who wrote many tragedies like Macbeth, Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Antony and Cleopatra, etc. Eugene Gladstone on October 16, 1888 to November 27, 1953, was an American playwright and Nobel laureate in literature. His poetical title plays were among the first to introduce into the US. The tragedy Longest Journey into Night is often numbered on the short list of the finest US plays in the 20th century. Longest Journey into Night is a tragedy play in four acts written by American playwright Eugene O'Neill in 1941 to 42, first published in 1956. The play is widely considered to be his magnum opus and one of the finest American plays of the 20th century. It premiered in Sweden in February 1956 and then opened on Broadway in November 1956, winning the Tony Award for Best Play. So here is the poster of Longest Journey into Night, written by Eugene O'Neill. Tragedy in the play. Longest Journey into Night is undoubtedly a tragedy. It leaves the audience with a sense of catharsis. Catharsis is the end of the tragedy, or emotional rebirth through the viewing of powerful events, and it depicts the fall of something that was once great. Like Macbeth, we saw in Macbeth that Macbeth's tragic downfall and his rise. Many critics have argued whether Longest Journey into Night is a tragedy or not. While it has arguments for both, it would have to be considered a tragedy because of the characters and the ending of the play. Those two aspects of the play make it a tragedy for sure. And I have one example in Bollywood movie. We have Tere Naam is a movie which consists of tragic end, and it is a tragedy movie. There is a love story in it and tragedy as well. Actor faces a brutal attack and become mentally unstable. And we find in the end of the movie that actress found dead, and the actor is Salman Khan and actress is Bhumika Chawla. So, taking into consideration the characteristics of tragedy, this play features many elements that would be typical of a tragedy. A family that has a lot to lose, tragic characters with fatal flaws, moments of realization, and a tragic ending. One could argue that Longest Journey into Night is missing a crucial element of any theatrical or literary work, a protagonist. Okay, so here is the reference.
Okay, the questions to yes, Niyati, Riddhi, and Sneha.
Yes, Niyati. What is as the definition of tragedy?
A play dealing with tragic characters, tragic and tragic elements, and having unhappy ending, especially with main character protagonist. That shows a tragedy in movie or play or anything else?
Yes, Niyati. So, how is O'Neill's long day's journey into night as a modern tragedy? Can you explain?
Yes, it is largely the substance of O'Neill's posthumously published masterpiece that makes it a modern tragedy.
Okay, see now when you talk about anything as tragedy, I don't know whether in this slot yesterday I talked this or was it in the morning slot. But point is that you have to refer to Aristotle's Poetics, because he was the one who initially gave the definition of what is tragedy. And a tragic hero, a character, tragic hero is very important in tragedy. And tragic hero should have hamartia. So if you find that definition, man in action, in the definition that he said, and catharsis, through pain and suffering, he reaches to a kind of a catharsis. That, and it is told in terms of performance rather than narration. So long day's journey into night is a play, so it is fine, it qualifies for that round. But how far it arouses catharsis, then there is a tragic hero whose hamartia is been seen. When you justify that, then it becomes traditional tragedy, Aristotelian tragedy. If you think that Eugene O'Neill is writing a Shakespearean tragedy, then you have to go to Shakespeare, and we have seen the difference between Shakespearean tragedy and Greek tragedy also. So then you have to see what are those characteristics. But Eugene O'Neill is more near to Greek tragedy than Shakespearean tragedy. Yeah? So there are the elements of Greek tragedies found in other works also. So then you see that how this qualifies with the help of tragic hero and what is the hamartia to call it. Then another question also was there. Without this question was about modern tragedy, that how do you consider it as a modern tragedy? So when you say modern tragedy, means obviously it has something which is not Aristotelian. It has something which is not Aristotelian. So what is that which is not in the modern tragedy, which normally we considered as Aristotelian? So first important thing is tragic hero. Tragic hero. And a tragic hero is supposed to be of a great stature in Aristotle, great stature, a warrior, a fighter, king. Whether in modern times we don't have kings, we don't have such warrior fighters who would be like Bahubali, who would go on a battlefield and come victorious. You won't see that. Though we have 2 world wars, you don't have a single hero. You don't have a single hero who can beat, because it is a different warfare now, different weapons. It is not gada or bow and arrow that one person, one Bahubali can win. It is weapons. Far away people with guns, missiles, bombs will drop, and any great person would just become a vapor within few seconds. So time has changed. So now you do not have such one individual great hero. So everybody has turned into, every human being has turned into dust. We have turned into nothingness. Our might has significantly reduced, which was in medieval and traditional literature. That might we do not find in 20th century literature. So we become palmer, Jew. We become insignificant individual, a speck of dust. Even our earth is nothing but a speck of dust in the universe. ખાલી એક માટીની કણ જેવું આપણું પૃથ્વી છે આખી, અને પૃથ્વી ઉપર રહેતા અબજો લોકો તો ક્યાંય દેખાતા જ નથી. So a realization modern tragedy ને જન્મ આપે. And in modern tragedy, our fights, in traditional tragedies, Aristotelian tragedies, the fight was against your destiny. Oedipus is fighting against destiny. And if there is a Vidhata who is the writer of destiny, then your fight is with divine power. You are fighting against divinity, against Vidhata, against, so your conflicts are more terrible. Your conflict is with heaven. Heaven says, I have written this. I said that I will rewrite my life. I will rewrite. So that now in this modern times, the fight is with circumstances. Now there is no Vidhata. Now there is no heaven. Now there is no divine power. Now what is significant for us is our circumstances. એટલે આપણે સંજોગોના મારેલા લોકો છીએ. મોડર્ન મેન એ સંજોગો ના મારેલો વ્યક્તિ છે. એમની વાર્તામાં વિલન કોણ છે? તો સંજોગો છે. Circumstances are the villain, not human beings. બીજો માનવ પણ આપણા જેટલો જ પામર છે. બીજો માનવ પણ એ મારું કઈ બગાડી શકે, કારણ કે એ પોતે જ પોતાનું કઈ કરી શકતો નથી. તે બીજાનું ક્યાં બગાડવા જવાનો છે? તો એ પણ એક પપેટ બની જાય છે. સર્કમસ્ટેન્સીસ ના પપેટ આપણે બની જાય છે. આપણે સમાજ ના રોબોટ્સ બની જાય છે. અને એમાં એમની થતી ટ્રેજેડી, એમાં એમની જે ટ્રેજેડી થાય, એક નિસહાય વ્યક્તિ, that is modern tragedy. So these differences are very clear, and these are to be highlighted when. So it was these were good questions which were raised, and this way those questions are to be answered, that how something is a Greek tragedy and then it is a modern tragedy also. Okay? So it's a very interesting play, Long Day's Journey into Night, and it is good to discuss it as a modern tragedy. Okay, next presenter is who is Nidhi. Nidhi, yes, Nidhi.
Hello everyone, I'm presenting my screen. Giving a presentation today is very tough for me because in the morning my laptop was stuck, so I'm getting afraid that I will give my presentation, but with the grace of God and help of YouTube, I will sort it out. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. The entire screen is visible?
Yes, it is visible. You can start.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning to all of you. Today I'm going to present the Bob Dylan and Michael Jackson. These are my content. That what will I going to present about the both artists, their journey, theme of their song, and comparison of both the artists. So first of all, I will take the Bob Dylan, and as we know that Bob Dylan is also in our syllabus, so it is very interesting in a way to represent the Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, the real name of Bob Dylan is Robert Allen Zimmerman, is an American singer, songwriter, author, and visual artist, born in 1941. The greatest songwriter of the all time. He awarded Nobel Prize in 2016. Bob Dylan has been a major figure in a popular culture during the career spanning near 16 years. Bob Dylan is probably the most influential songwriter in the pop rock field. So much so that he is the current Nobel laureate in literature and the first songwriter to awarded the honor. And whether or not a songwriter deserves the Nobel Prize, it is a main question or debatable question for everyone. So about the Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is also the pop writer, and he also belonging from the America. He was born in 1958 and he was dead in 2009. Was American songwriter, singer, and as well as a dancer. He is known as the king of pop, and we all know that we very well know the Michael Jackson, and especially his moonwalk. We everyone like his moonwalk, and whatever way he was dancing, it was a fabulous. He is regarded as the most significant cultural figure in the 20th century, and the most important thing about his personality is that he awarded the American Music Award 24 times. Now, the theme of both the songwriters. Bob Dylan wrote about the protest, justice, freedom, love, war, God, inequality, politics, etc. While in the same way, Michael Jackson's songs also consist the same kind of thing. And Michael Jackson also involved the love, thrill, youth, faith, smile, revolt, childhood, etc. So in a way, both writers are writing the song from the every part of the life and human being and universal. And we can say that the theme is connected with every field. Now the famous quote of the Bob Dylan. So I would like to quote it, the original quotes of the Bob Dylan, that money doesn't talk, it swear. And read more it. And next is yesterday just money. Tomorrow is never what is supposed to be. Chaos is a friend of mine. It's not easy to define poetry. Now, the famous quotes by the Michael Jackson. Let's us dream of tomorrow where we can truly love from the soul and know love as the ultimate truth at the heart of all creation. To give someone a piece of your heart is worth more than all the wealth in the world. Please go for your dream. Whatever you ideas, you can become whatever you want to become. So we can say that Michael Jackson is very influential for the youth. We all know about his idea, especially his personality. I know that when I was a child and first time saw the poster of the Michael Jackson, I think that Michael Jackson is a girl, but later on I realized that he is not a girl, but he is a boy. So some of the best songs of the both singers, and we have studied the three songs of the Bob Dylan, and three songs are Rolling Stone, then All Along the World, and Blowing in the Wind. We found that whatever Bob Dylan written is concerned with our society, and somewhere we feel that whatever Bob Dylan has sung, it's song of us. In the same way, Michael Jackson wrote some most fabulous and most heart-touching song of us, like "Don't Stop Till Get Enough," Black or White, Bad, Rock with You, etc. Now, why Bob Dylan considered as the great songwriter? So first idea we are going to discuss about that Dylan transformed the song form. That pop music before the Bob Dylan was a pretty fluffy stuff, and thematically and was considered the lightweight culture by the most people. And Bob Dylan is the gave a new way for the folk song of America. So it is the one important point. Then another important point is he gave the poetry. He gave the rebirth of the poetry. So the journalist Michael Gilmore, who was interviewed Dylan more than any other journalist in the last 20 years, defined the artist Nobel Prize in the New York Times by saying that what separated Bob from his peer was the low he widely language, like a Rolling Stone, contained an assembling of the phrase not seen before in a pop music. And the Pamper College girls Miss Lonely, who is now forced to make her own way in the world, encountered the mystery tramp with the eyes with the vacant juggler's clown of the thief, and disguised as the diplomat with the Siamese cat on the shoulder, and Napoleon in a rag, and her bright light at the end a tunnel contained the almost mantra-like saying, "When you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose." And with these new forward invisibility come a new transcendency. For example, like Rolling Stone is giving the best narration of the Bob Dylan, so he gave a new dimension of the poetry. And next point is he also narrated the mythology in his song. And one of the interesting thing that he gave the rebirth of the American folk song, and that is why he considered it as the best song of all time. Now, why Michael Jackson called the biggest superstar or the king of folk? So not only his song but some of his point give him this title. So Michael Jackson and the world biggest superstar are the synonyms, and it is not personally opinion, but it is a fact. Michael Jackson is the unbeatable and untouchable when it comes to the fame, stardom, wealth, achievement, and impact. Michael Jackson has always been his a competitor, and that's why no other person broke his records than he. So first thing we are going to discuss about his fame and stardom. According to the Guinness World Record and various other sources, Michael Jackson is world most famous person ever. And now talking about the wealth, so since his passing, He is a topping list of the highest earning death celebrity each year. Now coming to the point of his achievement, so Michael Jackson is the most award-winning artist of the all time, and he has the numerous Guinness World Records. In fact, all artists out of there, whatever famous or not, are inspired heavily by the Michael Jackson humanity individual. So I have heard that that some girl was sick and he wants to the autograph with Michael Jackson, and these pictures are taken from that, and Michael Jackson go to her and give her autograph. So we can say that celebrity is very not only for the songwriting. He was not very hip hop. He has a soft corner for each and every person, and even after 9 years after his death, Michael Jackson is still relevant. He is alive in our heart. We regularly remember somewhere, and we are listening his song. So he is not dead. He is dead only by his body, but not by his soul. We every day remembering him by listening him song. So the most important part of my presentation is the speech of Bob Dylan. Okay, so Bob Dylan was awarded a Nobel Prize, and I would like to give some important idea what Bob Dylan thinks. Right? So Bob Dylan says when he received the Nobel Prize, when I was received this Nobel Prize of Literature, I got wondering exactly how my song is related to the literature, because before Bob Dylan, no one awarded a Nobel Prize for the songwriting, and when the Nobel Prize awarded or announced to the Bob Dylan was out of street, and he was suddenly shocked that is my song are related to the literature, and how my song is related to literature. So when I first received this Nobel Prize for Literature, I got to wonder exactly my song related to literature. I wanted to reflect on it. I see where the connection was. I'm going to try to articulate that to you, and most likely it will go in a doubt way. But I hope what I say will be a wordful and purpose. So it is a very interesting speech when Bob Dylan was awarded the Nobel Prize, and some of the line I would like to say by speaking by the Bob Dylan. I have been familiar with the reading, absorbing the work of those who were deemed worthy of such a distinction, like a Kipling, Shaw, Thomas Mann, Blanc, Albert Camus, Hemingway, and these giants of literature whose work are taught in the schoolroom and housed in the library around the world and spoken of the reverent tone have always made a deep impression. So we can find that when Nobel Prize was announced to Bob Dylan, he was also surprised at how his song is related with literature. So it is a very important speech, important and very interesting speech by the Bob Dylan. Now, important thing about Michael Jackson is his death. His death is a very tragic. In a way, in the age of 15, Michael Jackson got death, and on June 2009, American singer Michael Jackson died acute propofol and the Benosia Zeppin into the psychiatrist at his home on the North Carroll Drive in the Holby Hills neighborhood of the Los Angeles. Michael Jackson's death triggered reaction around the world and creating the unprecedented surge of the intellect traffic and the dramatically music the important thing about the death of Michael Jackson that his doctor constantly giving him some the medicine which affect his body, and uncertainly he got a death. So we can say that both songwriters, singers are very well known, very famous, and they song are like evergreen, and no doubtly Michael Jackson's song lives in our heart, and Bob Dylan is like fabulous, no one can beat him. So conclusion, both are the greatest songwriter ever, both writer written song which touch to everyone and every field. Michael Jackson is the very famous for the pop music, and as I told you further that Michael Jackson is the known as the king of pop. Bob Dylan's songs are very heart touching. As we studied Rolling Stone, then all along the watch town like a Rolling Stone blowing in the wind. So we feel that these songs are very heart touching and related to us, and both belonging from the popular literature, and both are the American songwriter. These are my citations. These are all my citations. Thank you.
Okay, questions to Nidhi, Niyati, and Riddhi.
Yes, Nidhi. So, which song you like the most of Bob Dylan?
Rolling Stone, because I know when Vaidehi ma'am first was taking our session of the Bob Dylan, he gave activity to sing a song, and later on she played that song Blowing Wind. So it is my first most favorite song of Bob Dylan. Thank you. Niyati, unmute your mic.
Why do you choose Michael Jackson for comparison?
Because I have a very fascination toward Michael Jackson, and I love to listen to Michael Jackson. And when I came to know that Bob Dylan and Michael Jackson both are the American songwriters, so I was thinking, why not compare their works and their themes? So that's why I'm choosing Michael Jackson for Bob Dylan. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, next presenter is Nandita.
Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. Yeah.
Good morning to all of you. This is the second day of the presentation. This is the presentation number 3 with paper The American Literature. My topic is A Long Day's Journey into Night as Shattering Shocking Journey to the Human Soul. Here is the list of the writer, Eugene O'Neill. We had already known in previous presentation that Aristotelian tragedy and his beliefs on hamartia and catharsis are a long to way, and we all have to have the understanding of tragedy when we read a tragedy or compare a modern tragedy or the tragedy's belief of Aristotelian. So here Eugene O'Neill has some awarded literary prizes like Nobel laureate for literature, Long Day's Journey into Night, which was written and published in 1956, for which he won his Pulitzer Prize in 1957. He also gained World Classic title and Classic Amazing Age of the Coming Age of American Drama. Here are some features of the play. The features of the play deals with tragedy, and here the tragedy deals with the similar adaptation of Aristotle's view. Here I want to signify the first title of the play by trying to say that in the first scene the author wanted to say that trying to discover the root of human desires and frustration. As we all know that Long Day's Journey into Night is an exceptional art of Eugene O'Neill, and he tried to root out the desires and frustrations which are concluded in human being and its nature. The second thing I want to tell is a meaning and purpose of life, but ending with disappointment. We all have some kind of expectations with our work, with our life, with people to whom we love, and also when our expectations are not fulfilled, we get disappointment from them.
and it is very easy to say that don't expect from anybody, or do your own work, or having not expectation does not get an heart attack. But it is just a word or just a line to say it is very difficult, or it is not that much easy to follow upon these things. The another thing is pessimistic view of life is a thing that urges us to get upon disappointment. And O'Neill also has described his characters as leaving the characters without illusions and hope. There is no hope, there is no illusions in the play. So we can say that this play also features a thing which is concluded and contemporary to our time. Here are some important characters of the play, which is James Tyrant, Mary Cavan Tyrant, Jamie, Edmund, and Kathleen. By starting from the James Tyrant, he is the father and supporter of the family who is anxious to become rich. So here we can say that there is some desire of what? Desire of becoming rich. Another person is Mary Cavan Tyrant, a wife and mother of family who is addicted to morphine. Here we can see that she is addicted to morphine. Means here we can see that there is addiction. The other one is Jamie, the older son, who is irresponsible. Here we can get the adjective of irresponsibility. And the fourth one is Edmund, which is the younger brother son, who is diagnosed with tuberculosis. Here we can see that there is some health issue. And the fifth one is Kathleen. Kathleen is the maid who is ignorant with her well-meaning stupidity. So here we can find the 5 important words which can in very gist describe the whole art of Eugene O'Neill, which is one person has desire to become rich, the other one is addicted, the third one is irresponsible, the fourth one has stupidity, and the fifth person is having health which is not well, unhealthy. So all these things are going to in a negative way. We can say also that there is nothing any positive thing here, or all the things are going on a negative side. Here is a summary of the play. Here is the scene where they met in the living room of the family. Firstly, the father is angry with mother for her drug addiction. Here also the drug addiction comes first. The husband is angry with her wife by having addiction. Second one is the mother is angry with his sons for being good for nothing. Now, here there is no logic that a mother is angry with his sons that they are good for nothing. To be good is practically or theoretically also a good thing. By not having or angry with this thing has no logic. Here also it signifies negativity. The third thing, the sons are angry with their parents for not being good parents. Now, parents also have concerns for their children, but here we can find opposite thing of it. Fourth one is the mother curses the father for his failure to offer her a happy home. Here we can see there is a term we all know, which is materialistic pleasure. Here the concern of materialistic pleasure is shown, that happiness is everything, not having a bungalow or having car and money. All these things are happily think happiness, but at the end of the day, all these things are materialistic pleasures, not the pleasure of love. Here is the summary of where there is the conclusion part of the play, that father and son tortures and curses each other, thinking to escape the cruel reality. Here everyone is facing or living the cruel reality. No one is getting that much of innocence and texture of that. If one person is having something wrong, then I will help him or we will sort out all those things. No, this is everyone is busy with their own problems. Everyone is not having other people to work upon, but all the characters of the play is working with negativity. Therefore suffers frustration and wish to escape from the harsh reality. Now it is a universal truth. No one can run off the reality. We all have to accept the reality. But in this play, everything is folded upon the tables. And the last line which I had highlighted is the main thing, that love gives way to hate, day to night, and hope to despair. Now we can consider here that love is a positive like of thing and hate is a negative thing. Then day is a is a negative. Correct? In night not thing, but has alteration because there is and one thing is negative. The same happens with hope and despair. The another thing is the brief analysis of the play, where we can say that long day into night is undoubtedly a tragedy. The second is the play is largely autobiographical elements of the author itself, and the play also creates a world in which communication has broken down. No one communicates with each other, having all those problems, each one having their own desires, own frustrations, own addictions, and own irresponsibility. No one is helping each other, and the play is all more about tragic because it leaves little hope for the future. Now everybody is not having that much of good things in their life, but each and every character of the play wants some good thing but not doing at all. These are some symbols of the play which I wanted to highlight, and that is itself is a very symbol. Long day's journey into night. A day consisting of 24 hours, but the author has said that it is a long day because all this negativity has frustrated on their mind, on their desires, addictions, frustrations, irresponsibilities. All are the things which makes human being not happy. The second thing is fog and fogum, the car, day night, and the wedding dress of booth praises. All these are symbols connected to the play. Where I had took some points over my presentation, and thank you. Hope you will like it.
Okay, yes. So questions by is going to ask question Nidhi and Niyati. Yeah, your questions to
Yes,
Nandita.
yes, Nandita. What type of addiction harms all the character of a long day's journey into night?
Okay, as per my view, all the addictions are of negativity, which brings to all the characters like frustration, which I had already told, frustration, desire, having desire to become rich, irresponsibility, or if in a natural sense, if in our family, if someone is having some problem, we all just try to sort of that problem instead of not saying that I also have this, how can I help you, you are just doing these things and all. So as per my view, all the characters have some desires and negativity in their own mind, so it is in real sense the first addiction of their own.
What is the central theme of the play?
I think the central theme of the play is the autobiographical element of the author itself, because he has written his own life into paper. So the central theme must be the disappointment or the desire itself.
Okay, next presenter is Latta.
Yes, sir. For my presentation, I would like to call Riddhi. Riddhi, please.
Yes, Latta.
Share your screen and present my PPT. Thank you, Riddhi. So today I am going to discuss about the long day's journey into night as a tragedy or a modern tragedy. Next slide. So The Long Day's Journey into Night is a semi-autobiographical play written by Eugene O'Neill. The full name of Eugene O'Neill is Eugene Gladstone O'Neill. The drama was written in 1939 to 1941 and published in 1956. Long Day's Journey into Night has 4 acts, and for this work, O'Neill won Pulitzer Prize in 1957. Next. So, the genre of this drama, many critics have argued whether Long Day's Journey into Night is a tragedy or not. So, the basic clue about tragedy is the branches of drama that treat in a serious and dignified style the sorrowful or terrible event encountered or caused by a heroic individual. This is basic element of tragedy. Uh, but next we see the definition of tragedy. Next. According to Aristotle, tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude in the language, embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play in the form of action, not of narrative, through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation, catharsis of these and similar emotions. So, this is a definition given by Aristotle. Aristotle said that tragedy is an imitation of action, and it is a serious and complete. And we must include here that tragedy is performed rather than narrated. Next slide. These are some characteristic of a tragedy given by Aristotle. Tragedy is mimetic. It is a serious. It tells full story of an appropriate length. It contains rhyme and harmony. Rhythm and harmony occur in a different combination in different parts of tragedy. It assumes feeling of pity and fear and then pursue this feeling through catharsis. These are some characteristic of tragedy. Next. Uh, if we talk about Long Day's Journey into Night is a modern tragedy or not? So first we have to understand what is modern tragedy. Modern tragedy refers to the tragedies that were written and performed from the 20th century. This tragedy redefines the genre with ordinary protagonists, multiple plots, and realistic timeline and setting. Next. The important thing about tragedy is hamartia. Hamartia is a concept used by Aristotle to describe tragedy. Hamartia is the fall of a nobleman caused by some excess or mistake in behavior. It is also known as a tragic flaw. Next. In the drama, we can see that James Tyron is the dominant member and a central figure in the play, or a tragic protagonist of the play. James Tyron Samartia is Miss Reliance. As a young man, he has the potential to become one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of his day. He wants to become a rich person, and this is Miss Realness. He purchased the production right to a certain romantic melodrama and action, which ruined his career. James Samarsha arises from the pattern of ambivalence, which is present in the drama. Yes, James sees the ambivalence in the others. He does not at first realize that he too shares the pattern. He don't know that the ambivalence is also described in his character. Because of this lack of recognition, he also fails to realize the extent to which the other suffers. Throughout the day on which the play occurs, James is repeatedly bombarded with proofs of his error in judgment. We can see the example of Mary's increasing drug use. He was addicted to morphine, and then Jamie's alcoholism and Edmund's consumption. These are the example which we can see error of judgment. Next. So the question is, long day's journey into night is a tragedy or not? So according to all characteristic and the definition of tragedy, we can see that a long day's journey into night is a tragedy. This drama would have to be considered as a tragedy because of the characters and the ending. This play have features of tragedy. We can see in a drama that a family that has a lot of loss, tragic characters with fatal flaws, moments of realization, and tragic ending. If we talk about the end of the play, we come to know that there is a missing of ending scene, and the crucial element of any literary work is a, protagonist. This is very important point for any work. So the entire Tyrant family could be considered as a protagonist. The drama has a lacking element of tragic ending. We don't know what will eventually become of Edmund and the others. If we know that this drama is semi autobiographical work. So in the real life, O'Neill was recovered from the disease, but in the drama, we can't know that what was the end of the drama, and the play. At the end of the play is hopelessness with the sentence by Tyron, pass me that bottle. With this sentence, the drama was ended. Next. A long day's journey into night is also called modern tragedy because it has four tragic characters and struggling with their fatal flaw, which will ultimately be their downfall. And the ending does not give a hint as to what the resolution for the characters might be. So we can say that this drama is also called modern tragedy. These are my references, and thank you. Sir, unmute your mic.
Yeah, okay. Questions. One quick question to Latta. One.
Latta, which type of addiction Jamie has in a drama?
Jamie has a addiction of alcohol, and also he was used to waste his money on prostitution.
Okay. Okay. Nidhi has asked in one comment that in citations he has received lower score. That is citation and originality. Last 2 points in the rubric where you have said that you have received low. Now see, if you want to get full score in last 2 points, last 2 points in the rubric, and this is for everybody. Everybody can take note of that. In the morning also, we discussed this. The very last point, MLA style documentation, is that all your works are cited properly according to MLA style sheet, alphabetical order, everything okay, then you get full points. Now see, many of you are mixing APA style with MLA style, so you are not getting full score. MLA and APA style, so that is the confusion. So you are not getting full score in that. And name, last name, first name, that should be organized in a proper way. Now in case of Nidhi's citation, the second citation you have given is Bob Dylan. It should be Dylan, comma Bob. So that is one error. Then in this second last, there should be, if it is a web source, then you have to give website also. Morphic magazine, online source, you might have referred, Morphic magazine. There you have to give the link also. So at least very quickly, in a first look only, we find 2 mistakes at least in that citation. So you cut a mark, you cut the mark and you get 3 points. If you still thoroughly check, then you may come down to say 2 point also. And because if there is a one error in citation, then alphabetical order is distorted. If there is one error, then alphabetical order is not. So you may get 1 point also in that, because the alphabetical order is distorted, but 3 points are given. And then citation plus originality. There, if you see the descriptions, it says if you want 4 points, then what you should do, sources are exceptionally well integrated and they support claims argued in the paper very effectively. So for example, if you are referring to this David McCooey's write-up, where Bob Dylan's Nobel speech, a splendidly eccentric performance. If you are making, then in your presentation, somewhere you should have referred to David McCooey, and you have said that David McCooey is saying so and so kinds of things in that, and whether you agree with that argument or not. You can use that in support of your hypothesis or your argument, and you say, see, David McCooey also has said that. Or if it is going against your argument, you can say that, well, David McCooey says this, but then you do not agree. But you refer to everything that you are mentioning in the citation should be also mentioned in text. In text citation, that is a technical word, in text citation. So even in your presentations also that should be mentioned, that so and so person says this, and you agree, disagree, but in your arguments you are integrating all those things. In semester 4, 2 students were able to do this. Is very difficult. This is not easy. Even PhD students fumble around to work out on this, integrating their sources very well for their arguments, how well they integrate. We teach in their coursework also. In semester 4, we have a paper on research methodology. So we'll again come back to this. So keep your mental folders open. We keep on telling you you have to do this, but you will not be able to do this. And that I'm saying from my experience. In last semester, only 2 students were able to do. That was Asha and Kavisha. Only they were able to understand and do this to a significant good level, not perfectly well, but a significant good level. 2 students, the others were not able to still do it. In PhD also, we struggle a lot to tell students to work on this. So if you want to get full score, then very well you have to integrate the sources that you are referring to. Now, if you don't do, then fourth, 1 point, sources support some claims made in the paper, but might not be integrated well within the paper's argument. Now, see, most of you do not get qualified to get 1 point also, but we do not have anything below 1 point. So we give 1 point, but even that is not achieved. Even that is not achieved by anybody in the presentation. That is, let me read again, that sources support some claims made in the paper, but might not be integrated well with the main argument of the paper. Yeah? So that is because we don't have a 0 point, everybody gets 1 point, but you do not qualify for that also. You don't qualify, and because we don't have a good example, we cannot say that this is how you have to do. So but as I told you, Asha or Kavisha, if you can refer to their presentations, then somewhere you will find. You may not find everywhere, but somewhere you can find, then you get full score in that. That is why you are getting 1 point in that. So I hope you understood this point, that if you want to score complete mark, then what you have to do in last two that are research based marking, what you have to do that. But even if you're not able to understand, still while discussing articles, we will talk about it many times. While discussing articles, we are talking about that also. But what happens is that at this level, your minds are still not open for research-based writing or academic writing. Even if we have done the online course on academic writing, but still, even the instructor, Mr. Clement, also told me that still he is not satisfied with the performance. He says that maybe we have to do some live interactions. So maybe once we get new students, in semester 1, we are planning yet another workshop where we will have some live interactions also. If you are allowed to come, then we will have face-to-face in classroom. Otherwise, live interactions also, where you may be suggested that here you are making mistake, this way you have to do. So that is very much necessary. These kinds of trainings in world-class universities happen in their schools, like first world. When we say first world countries, Europe, America, there such writing is taught in schools. In school essays, students are taught to make arguments, to cite arguments properly. That is happening, but which doesn't happen in our academic environment a lot. So normally students do not have a practice of writing essays in a proper way, with citations and other things. So at PG level, we may complain that at UG level, things are not done properly. At UG level, teachers can complain that at school level, things are not done properly. But somewhere we have to begin. About how to write in a proper way. So here the rubric is given. And it is good that you are reading rubric thoroughly and asking the question. It is good. I don't think the other students might be doing that also. બીજા વિદ્યાર્થીઓ એ પણ નહીં કરતા હોય કે રૂબ્રિકમાં મને ક્યાં માર્ક મળ્યા છે, એના ડિસ્ક્રિપ્શનમાં શું લખ્યું છે, એ પણ ઘણા બધા નહીં જોતા હોય હજી પણ. But you read thoroughly the rubric, so you can come to know and you can ask questions, so we can explain. It is good that you ask questions, that if you want to score more, what to do. So we get a chance to explain you that if you do this, you can improve your score in that thing also there. But still, everybody is not alert towards research. Everybody, mind na folders haji marks purta simit hoy. Research writing માટે હજી એ ફોલ્ડર ન ખુલ્યા હોય, એટલે વિદ્યાર્થીને એ સૂચના આપવામાં આવે ત્યારે માઇન્ડની પેલા કમાડ બંધ થઈ જાય, બારી બારણા બંધ થઈ જાય કે આ તો આઉટ ઓફ સિલેબસ છે, આમાં બહુ ધ્યાન નહીં આપવાનું. એટલે એ વસ્તુ અંદર ન ઉતરે અને બરાબર પચે પણ નહીં. પછી તમે 1 વર્ષ પછી પીએચડી માટે જાઓ, ક્યાંય પીએચડી એડમિશન લેવા માટે, તો ત્યાં લોકો તમારી પ્રપોઝલ ફેંકી દે કે તમને કાંઈ બેઝિક પણ આવડતું નથી. પછી તમને કહો અમને તો એમએમાં કાંઈ શીખવાડ્યું જ નહીં. કે શીખવાડ્યું હોય ત્યારે આપણું ધ્યાન ન હોય, આપણે બે ધ્યાન હોઈએ, બીજી બાબતમાં ધ્યાન હોય કે આ તો બસ આ એક નિધિ માટે છે ને આપણા માટે નથી. કે એટલે બીજા લોકો બારી બારણા બંધ કરીને બેઠા હોય ત્યારે કે મારે આમાં ध्यान આપવાનું નથી. બટ ઇટ ઇઝ ફોર એવરીબડી that research and it is very difficult. બહુ સિમ્પલ છે, પણ બહુ જ એમાં ध्यान રાખવું પડે. Nidhi said that you read so many articles, but when you read articles, are they qualitative articles? When you dabble into popular, કારણ કે માઇકલ જેક્સન, બોબ ડિલન, એ બધા પોપ્યુલર રાઇટર છે, અને પોપ્યુલર ઉપર બહુ સારું એકેડેમિક વર્ક ન થયેલું હોય, એટલે સારા જર્નલ આર્ટિકલ્સ તમને ન મળે, સારું પીએચડી ન મળે, સરસ ક્વોલિટેટિવ રિસર્ચ વર્ક. થેન્ક્સ ટુ નોબેલ કમિટી કે એમણે બોબ ડિલનને નોબેલ પ્રાઇઝ આપ્યો, એટલે લોકોમાં એમાં ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ થયો અને હવે સિલેબસમાં રાખતા થયા. નહીતર તમે બોબ ડિલનને સિલેબસમાં રાખ્યો હોય તો લોકો મજાક ઉડાવે કે આ બોબ ડિલન કઈ સિલેબસમાં હોય, એમએના સિલેબસમાં કે આ તો પોપ્યુલર સિંગર છે, એમ લોકો કહે. In cultural studies, we study popular culture also. This semester, we are going to study cultural studies. So, એ તમે બરાબર સમજશો તો તમને ખ્યાલ આવશે કે શું કામ ચેતન ભગત સિલેબસમાં હોય, શું કામ જેકે રોલિંગના હેરી પોટર સિલેબસમાં રાખીએ આપણે, અથવા શું કામ ડેન બ્રાઉન, દા વિન્ચી કોડ, જે લાસ્ટ યર આ બધા સેમેસ્ટરમાં હતા, હવે નવા સિલેબસમાં એ નથી. તો એમાં બોબ ડિલન આપણે શું કામ રાખીએ, માઇકલ જેક્સન, પોપ્યુલર સિંગર્સ ઉપર શું કામ આપણે અલાઉ કરીએ કે પ્રેઝન્ટેશન્સ મૂકો, because popular culture also should be studied academically. પણ એના ઉપર જે વાંચવું પડે એ નથી હોતું હજી. એટલે જે હોય તે બહુ પોપ્યુલર હોય, છીછરું હોય છે, થોડું છીછરું હોય. એટલે આપણે વાંચ્યું ખૂબ હોય તો at the end of the day આપણા કામમાં હજી કશું આવતું નથી હાથમાં બરાબર. જે આપણે શોધતા હોઈએ એ બરાબર હજી હાથમાં આવતું ન હોય તેવું લાગે. ઘણી વખત પલ્સ આપણે લેવા હોય તો બહુ ઊંડે દરિયામાં જવું પડે. આપણે કાંઠે કાંઠે 50 કિલોમીટર કાંઠે કાંઠે ચાલી લઈએ તેમ થાય કે ઓ મેં 50 કિલોમીટર ચાલ્યું, પણ તમે છબછબિયા જ કર્યા છે હજી, છબછબિયા, ઊંડી છલાંગ નથી લગાવી હજી. દરિયાના નીચે જાવ તો પલ્સ હાથમાં આવે, નહીતર તો પેલા નાના મોટા શંખલા હાથમાં આવે. કાંઠે કાંઠે આપણે કેટલું બધું ચાલી લીધું હોય, પણ ઊંડાણ માપવું. એટલે બંને વસ્તુ, એક બ્રેથ અને ડેપ્થ, બંને વસ્તુનું કેમ માપન કરવું. યુ વિલ ગેટ એન આઈડિયા કે ક્વોલિટેટિવ વસ્તુ આપણે નેટ ઉપરથી કેમ શોધવી. આપણે એના ઉપર વર્કશોપ કરશું, વિલ ડુ વર્કશોપ કે ક્વોલિટેટિવ વર્ક કઈ રીતે શોધી શકાય, એના પેરામીટર્સ ક્યાં હોય. At that time it will become more clear to you that what I am trying to tell, કે આ બધું તમે વાંચ્યું હોય પણ હજી એમાં ક્વોલિટી નથી આવતી, બહુ ઓછી આવે છે. So then એના પેરામીટર્સ ક્યાં કે આને ક્વોલિટેટિવ કહેવાય. That also we will do. So if you will concentrate in that workshop also, you will get idea. In next semester you will have a paper also on research methodology. So still again then you will get more clear. Keep your mental folders open. Keep your mental folders open regarding all these things. Okay, last presentation of the day. Questions to Latta, ask in chat. Okay, and Kishan, you have to make it. Yeah.
Hello, Bhavyank. So hello everyone, today I am going to present about paper number 108, the American literature. In my topic is a comparison between a long day journey into night play and the story of my experiment with truth as a autobiographical works. So let's start. Next. Literature is vast. There are many types of literary work and literature, including a story, play, song, autobiographies, biographies, etc. So I have discussed what is a semi-autobiography. So long day journey into the night play and the story of my experiment with the truth as a autobiographical work. Next. So our mind is what is a autobiography? So the biography of a person narrated by the person usually watch account of person's life in their own words. So that is the meaning of autobiography. Some example of autobiography in a Western writer, George Eliot, the Mill on the Flaws, and Fitzgerald, The Side of Paradise, Hemingway, Farewells to Arms, and Long Day Journey into the Night or Neil. Next. And some Indian writers' autobiographies. So the story of my experiment with the truth by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Second one is the memory of a spirited wife, Lakshmibai Tilak, Shanta Gokhale. Next one is writing of waiting for visa, B.R. Ambedkar. Wings of Fire, APJ Abdul Kalam. Playing in My Way, Sachin Tendulkar, and Eyes Against Odds by Sania Mirza. Next. So autobiographical, some another forms is a semi-autobiographic. So dealing partly with the writer's own life, but also connecting fictional elements and fictional character. That means semi-autobiographic. Next. So here I am comparison between a long day journey into the night and the story of my experiment with the truth written by Mahatma Gandhi. So these both work are autobiographical. Next. First of all, I am give introduction of O'Neill's. O'Neill's as a writer of American playwright and a Nobel laureate for literature. His work Long Day Journey into the Night, written in 1956, for which he won his final Pulitzer, posthumously 1957. Next. So some his work, The Empire Jaws, Desire Under the Elms, The Great God Brown, and other etc. Next. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was a father of India. He was an Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and a political atheistic who employed non-violent non-violent resulted to the lead to successful campaign for India independence from birth rules. Is some work of Hind Swaraj, Mangal Prabhat. Reason is started of newspaper, and his autobiographical work is the story of my experiment with truth. Next. So, Long Day Journey into the Night, Undoubtable Tragedy, written by of O'Neill, autobiographical play. Long Day Journey into the Night is regarded as his masterpiece and a classical American drama. So, Long Day Journey into the Night is exactly that. Long means 4 hours playtimes, and endless, painful, and the another word is a day. The day of the play, 18:30 a.m. to midnight. So day means another meaning of day in the life of the tyrant. A night journey words means a trip from day to night, a trip in time both from forward to backward. Night word means the night of the play, the night of dreams and death. So is literary word like that play a realism? In the another work is the story of my experiment with truth. Gandhiji represented of the story of my experiment with autobiographical, and including starting with his birth and presenting. Gandhiji has given reminiscence and childhoods and marriage experience at the school. His study tour the London, effect to be like the English gentleman experiment in detectives of color prejudice. He is a court for drama, social work in African, return to India. He is a slow and social activities to book and aborti. After his discussion of the Nagpur session of the Congress in 1915. So all things are represented in his autobiographical work. Next. So long day journey into night saw some main character of James Tyrant, Mary Tyrant, Jamie Tyrant, Edmund Tyrant. So four characters are men in this play. So there are four main characters in the play. First is James Tyrant, who are referred to as a tyrant. He is the patriarch. He is a led to successful acting career, just like O'Neill's actual father. His wife is a Mary. Their two grown sons as Jamie and Edmund. So next. So in key aspect, the play closely parallel O'Neill's own life. The location is a summer home or constitutional correspond to the family home. The family is the script correspond to the O'Neill's family, which was Irish American with a three name change. The family name O'Neill's is changed to Tyrone. which is the name of the Eldon granted to Ken O'Neill by Henry VIII. The name of the second and third son are received organs with Edmund. O'Neill's mother, Mary Ellen Ella O'Neill, crossed to the character of Mary Queven. Next. So conclude is Gandhiji represented of his own life in the story of my experience with truth. This is autobiographical work because he was represented all things in his work. Second one is O'Neill represented his own life is a long day journey into the night, but his all character represented is a fictional tale and fictional character. So long day journey into the night. This play is a semi-autobiographical work. Next. Here is my references. Next. Thank you.
Okay, questions to Kishan, Latta and Nandita?
My question is, what according to you that both the writer use the similar term of autobiographical note?
Yes, Nandita, because Gandhiji also written in own life and own thought in this work, and but O'Neill is a representative of own life, but is a different way. He was a write down in a fictional character and is a life story, but not a original character in this play, but a fictional character and a fictional element in this play.
Thank you.
Yes, next question is Latta.
Hello, Kishan. Autobiographical novel. Hello.
Yes,
Am I
Latta.
audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. So my question
Yes,
is
yeah,
how
yeah.
and so Kishan, my question is how is the semi-autobiographical drama?
Yes, Latta, because O'Neill's represented this autobiographic is fictional elements and fictional character. So, semi-autobiographical definition is author person his life story represented different elements and fictional character. So, this is a called of semi-autobiography.
Okay, fine. Everybody start evaluating. I have received responses from two students, Sneha and Nidhi. Yes, everybody reminder before you leave, yeah, mark peer and self in the online form, which is given to everybody. The link is there. So start doing it quickly, and a reminder to put a timestamp in the spreadsheet. That also do it as early as possible for tomorrow. For yesterday's presentations, and today's will be uploaded by evening. Okay? And you will be notified in WhatsApp. So at that time you have to do it for today also. Okay, we are ending our session, and we are meeting again in the afternoon for the presentations on literary theory and criticism.